where did you go to school, for instance?
Where did I go to school?
Yeah.
Catholic.
In
Netherlands, in the Netherlands.
which town?
In the south of the Netherlands. So do you know?
A little bit, yeah.
So near Eindhoven.
Okay.
I'm from
And you had
there.
religious education as part of it?
Yeah, it was part of it.
Okay. But
Yeah.
did you go into the ancient ruins and the...
No, we didn't go into the ancient ruins. No.
No, it's
No.
sad.
No, we went singing in the choir.
Okay, you got the more Catholic type thing.
Yeah. And then later I did some more research in different ways, like tarot and things like that. But not specifically the runes, no.
Ah,
No,
yeah,
I wasn't aware that the runes were associated also with
the Kabbalah.
with the Kabbalah.
Ah, specialist knowledge you're getting here. It's not just any old philosophy club. No, that's interesting. I mean, I take the view that I'm a meta-Catholic, so I take the view, like a meta-Mahayana practitioner, that because the word Catholic means universal, and so I take the view that we should all be literate in all the traditions.
Yeah, but that's very interesting.
Universally.
Yes,
you know,
we should look for the common roots. Or the
common roots to find
common
peace.
truth, yeah.
And that's surely what Christ would have wanted. I mean, I think that's where he was coming
Yeah.
from. You know, that's why he was saying, look, don't fight. You know, you can be my disciple if you're Roman or Greek or Phoenician or Samaritan or Jewish or Egyptian. You know, it's like, because the wisdom is universal.
Yeah, there is a phrase in the gospel
Yes.
that is for me difficult to get.
Okay.
Is when Jesus is asked about something, I don't remember what,
Yeah.
but he said, "I won't give that to the little dogs. You're not Jew." And the woman, she said, "Don't mind. Even the small stuff, I will take it."
Yeah,
And,
I know the passage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, three things. One is the full explanation of that is in my commentary on the Gospels, which you should listen to, and which is about to be published now, because it's been transcribed. It took me 3 years to do each Gospel in depth, and now I can publish it, right? So I go into that in great detail. The second point is that we have to make like a certain distinction between what Jesus himself thought or taught and what his disciples heard, and then what his disciples wrote down. So there's a sort of time lag. I mean, somebody listening to my talk might go away and say something that I'm not saying, do you know what I mean? They would kind of spin it according to their own mind. And a lot of people did think that the Jews were superior. They were God's only chosen people, and they alone had the, carte blanche to because they were God's holiest people. And so there were people thinking like that at that time, and there still are. I mean, the Netanyahu crowd seem to think that a Jewish life is worth 100 or 1,000 Palestinians. So you can kill 1,000 if one is, injured. So I personally don't think Jesus thought like that. So I suspect that text is genuine. I think he was a genuine universalist who wouldn't have said those kind of things. And I have a book next door called, it was written by the Jesus Seminar. So there's a bunch of scholars, mostly in America and Canada, who went through the Gospels looking at what is genuine and what is an addition, a superimposition. And they were then asked to vote. Is this a genuine Jesus saying, or is this a sort of later interpolation? And so the text I think if it's in red, they all said that's a Jesus saying. If it's in sort of blue or another colour, no, that was a later one. And I'm pretty sure that text will be a later one. And that's the Jesus Seminar. Those are the most important scholars of New Testament studies around. However, you know, I can lend you the book and you can find that text and see what they said, because then there's a commentary on it, you know. But it's a good point, yeah. Okay, are we ready for our tarot of the gods?
Hi.
Can we do that? You've used the tarot, have you?
Well, it's a particular one, so maybe.
Okay. I created a tarot deck.
Really?
Yeah, I wrote my own. And a friend who came here from Syria illustrated it.
Wow.
And I'd always wanted to do this, right?
Right.
I've got a collection of 30 tarot decks, but I always wanted this one, which is, you know, you can buy lots of goddess tarots. They're in Glastonbury, every other shop's got a different goddess tarot, right? And here in France also, at Vézelay, there's a lot of those kind of shops. But there's never been a god's tarot, so the male deities. And I thought it'd be good to create a deck for the male gods. And this is what this is. So we'll just go round and choose one each, okay? And then it's nice to see what that deity stands for. I've got the book here that explains it all. So I'll let you go first. You choose one.
Okay.
Just. Okay. Right. Armel, you'll have to reach over. There we go.
Oh, I took two.
I can have the spare one.
No, I'll let you choose your own here. Okay. Okay. Right, so let's have a look. This is just a sort of reading of the times where we are at in world affairs at the moment. Right, so what have you got, madam?
Jupiter.
Oh, right. That's a good one.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so Jupiter is an important god. Obviously, he's the king of the gods. And he is equated in this tarot deck. What number is he? Let me just have a look.
I can't see it.
Number 4, yeah, the 4. So he's the equivalent to the card the Emperor in normal tarot.
Yes.
It's like the Emperor of the gods, if you want. His name means the father, the great father of the gods, equivalent to Zeus in the Greek. So this card is both Jupiter and Zeus. And he's shown up on the top of a mountain like a sort of throwing out thunderbolts. When I moved here to France, I found that he was revered, Jupiter, over the whole of Gaul, and they equated him to Tyrannus, who was the local Druid god, who's symbolised by the white bull, and also thunderbolts and lightning. When there's thunderstorms here, it's pretty scary in this part of France. Occasionally, it's like right above our heads. And you can see why they felt that was the king of the gods talking. I think there was a marriage of peace made, ultimately, between the Gauls and the Romans. They said to the Romans, okay, you know, you conquered us and we admire your Jupiter, but he's the same as our god anyway. So you haven't won. Ultimately, the gods win. I also discovered there's a particular mountain pass up in the top of Switzerland, the highest mountain before you descend into Italy, which was sacred to Jupiter. There was a temple up there because that's where Jupiter lives, on the top of the mountain pass. And archaeologists have discovered this site. As you were travelling through, you'd leave like a coin or something. To me, Jupiter stands for the highest inner striving we can do for justice. And we should all be doing that at this time on the planet, because the planet's in trouble, you know, with all these wars going on, and which in turn create polarization in families and communities, and some people are pro-Russian, some are pro-whatever, Ukrainian, and everyone's fighting and arguing. I think it's time for Jupiter to appear and tell us what's really happening. And we need to surrender and submit to the higher justice, and not the pomposity of our particular political leaders, who are just... wasn't it you telling me that Macron, like, his nickname is Jupiter, is that right?
Yeah.
Does he use that, or his staff use that?
I suppose I didn't say that himself, but when he came to power after election, he made a ceremony quite strange with the pyramid of the Louvre and kind of behavior. Yes, many people, they joke about that.
Right, like as if he's a priest of Jupiter or something. Yeah, I think in France, I mean, going back to Napoleon, there's this love of ritual and ceremony. It's embedded in the Freemasonic thing. They like their Louvre. Mitterrand was a Freemason who built the pyramid. And that's all fine, you know, and the Romans loved this. I've just got a book on Roman religion from Oxford University, and I'm listening to Livy, the great Roman historian, who talks a lot about Roman religion and keeps coming back to piety and faith. Empires fall when we lose, you know, humility and piety, and that's what Livy said. So I think that's what this card is trying to remind us, really. Okay, and it was on the Capitoline Hill in Rome that the temple to Jupiter was, which I've been to. It's well worth a visit if you're in Rome. The Capitoline Museum is amazing, and it's in the basement are the walls of the Temple of Jupiter, still standing. It's incredible. And when I went there as a wandering Druid pilgrim, like about 10 years ago, it was a particular time of summer when Jupiter was really big in the sky, above the museum. It's like one of those cosmic synchronicities. Yes. Okay. Well, let's all try and be more just. Okay. What one did you get?
Elohim?
Haha. That's fun too.
Then
Elohim, the Wheel of Fortune in the old tarot, in the tarot of the gods, it's the Elohim, which is the plural for El. We had El a couple of weeks ago. But Elohim, Im is the plural in Hebrew or Semitic languages. So Elohim is the gods. And if you study the Bible through the philosophical lens, you see that it's the Elohim that created the world in the beginning. It's the gods, the Elohim. And so, you know, some New Age Jewish friends of mine say that the Elohim were the same as the Anunnaki. These are the kind of council of the deities that came and created humanity. The Dogon tribe in Mali say the same, only they call them the Nomos. The Nomos were the kind of first gods who come from a planet circulating the star of Sirius, according to the Dogon tribe in Mali, which I've just been doing in my 99 Names of Peace. I suspend judgment, you know, whether the Elohim are a sort of divine race that kick-started humanity, as the Dogons say, or whether it's kind of spiritual, directional archetypes that we can access in our consciousness, and that it's us in some mysterious way. I don't know, but what I do know is they seem to go in a wheel form, like Jira. So the Wheel of Fortune is the card that is about times changing, and we all have good moments, bad moments, depression, joy, ecstasy, breakup, heartbreak, you know, in life. It's a perpetual cycle. And it seems to me the gods, the Elohim, direct this. Quite why, I don't know, I haven't worked out the code. And why there should be suffering at all, you know. Like, why did the Palestinians deserve to have 45,000 people killed, you know, by a sort of AI bombing campaign? You know, which Elohim think that that's a good idea? Or for the people of Ukraine to be bombed for no reason and driven from their homes, and 3 million people escaping, I don't know. Some Gnostic traditions, Gnostic Christian traditions, said maybe the gods aren't that intelligent. Maybe this is a learning planet. The Elohim, okay, you know, but maybe some of them are a bit daft. Maybe some gods are stuck in ethnocentric views. We were talking earlier about ethnocentricity as opposed to world-centric. Are there learner gods? And are we humans just having to, like, be the, you know, the puppets that they're learning on? Discuss, you know, I don't know, this is what the Gnostics used to say. I just ask questions. I think it's time that we got some answers.
Some people, may I interrupt?
Yeah, please do.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. If you have any answers,
Some
let me
people,
know.
they say that is a divine sport. So with human sport, you are not killed. But with divine sport, you are killed. Anyway, it's not important, it's a sport. Some
Well,
people,
you don't get killed forever. I mean, you come back in in the next life, in the divine sport. Apparently.
but who knows, when I don't know. It's just...
Well, it's what the Hindus say.
Yes.
Leela is their version of this. Leela is a divine sport, and we're all playing. And the Bhagavad Gita is the kind of code for that. And that too is about the gods and their misdeeds and mistakes, and they're trying to correct. I think the best we can do as humans is try and be as ethical as possible and not harm and kill and stay out of trouble and try and help people that are in trouble. To me, that's what the real gods want. That's why I used to work in nursing and medicine. Yeah.
But that's okay, because it's in your mind, and it's in my mind, and I guess it's in your mind, this ethics.
Yes.
But if you're a soldier, or if you're a tyrann, you have your own mind. It's your way to play sport, and we play sport. We
have to outplay them.
Each one has a rule.
Absolutely, and there are always people going to play the evil role, you know, like this saying that Putin came out with, saying, "Oh, I just thought I'd invade Ukraine, I was bored," you know, like that's a pathological thing, but that's kind of what evil people do. But I think, and that's that sort of chaos magic is just causing trouble. It's what Loki does. I didn't mention Loki when we did the Norse gods. He's the troublemaker, Loki. But he's good for the storyline, because without Loki, not a lot happens. You know, they're just feasting and in Valhalla, which is great. But after you've done that a few thousand years, you know, you're not good at action. So Loki's always causing trouble. But what I like about Loki is he's not really evil. He just like causes trouble. He does what's called flighting, which is insulting somebody to really get them annoyed. Verbal sport. And that was a thing in Norse culture. Even at the court of King James VI of Scotland, he would have flighting matches where his aristocrats would argue and attack each other verbally, and it was a sport. But you don't go too far, you know. Loki did go a bit far. Sometimes he really insulted Thor, like when he said, "I slept with your wife," and she was a useless lover, you know, and then Thor got really angry and attacked him, you know. But that's going too far. So I think I think we should be inventing peace games. I think violence and war, now with the advent of nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction, we could blow this planet up and destroy all life on it. And that would be a shame to end the game. It's like when you're playing the game and it goes, "Oh, game over." You press the wrong button. I don't want that to happen to this planet. I want to preserve the beauty of nature, future lives that want to come and incarnate here and enjoy life. You know, I think we have a duty to preserve it. For the planet's going to be destroyed in a while anyway, when the sun gets so hot. But we've got a few million years to go. Why blow it up prematurely? You know? So I think my view as a Druid is that we should be preserving and working with the Elohim, with the gods, to get a peace treaty going. You know.
Excuse me.
Okay.
I have to go.
You have to leave, yeah,
I
but
have
nice
to-
to meet you.
Nice
Yeah.
to meet you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very
And
much
what was your
again.
name again? Sorry.
My name is Danielle.
Danielle, okay.
Yes.
We'll meet again.
Yes.
Okay. See you.
Goodbye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Yeah,
Year.
happy Christmas.
Peaceful New Year.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's do yours next. What did you get?
I hope I can pronounce it right. Page of Water. Asclepius.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love it. Yes, I love Asclepius. Page of Water, very important deity. He's the healing god. So that's what I was just saying about healing. He's the god of medicine, and that's what we need. Have you had him before?
No, I don't remind them.
Oh, I remind. Yes, we had maybe
We've had him-
2
I think
months
I-
ago,
yeah.
maybe
I might have had him.
not so recently, but
No.
He was there.
He was in the meeting. Yeah. It's like a council of the gods. isn't it?
well, it's his home here, so
Yeah, he lives here. 'Cause he's the son of Apollo. He's the son of Apollo in the Greek system, Asclepius. And I think I'll repeat the story of what happened to him. He was the son of Apollo and Coronis, and he was brilliant at healing people. He shared with Apollo the epithet Pien, which means the healer. The rod of Asclepius is a snake entwined staff. So I have one somewhere with like a snake coiled around it. That's the Asclepian symbol, which became the symbol of doctors. The Therapeutiae of Asclepius. In ancient Greece, every doctor was a descendant of the Therapeutiae of Asclepius. And they regarded Asclepius as the founder of medicine. And the thing is, he was so good at healing that he was able to raise the dead. So even dying people or dead people, he could heal them back to life. And it's very similar to the Jesus story, because that's, of course, what Christ could do. Anyway, Hades, the brother of Zeus, we just had Zeus or Apollo, Jupiter, but there's another card for Hades, and he got angry because if all the dead stop dying, the underworld won't be peopled anymore, and he was the king of the underworld with all the dead. So he said, I've got to stop Asclepius, and he thought of a way of doing that.
Oh, I start to remember now.
Okay. He sent a snake to sting Asclepius and kill him. Because Asclepius was an innocent youth, bumbling around, being loving to everybody and loved the sunshine and all that. And this snake killed him and brought him down into the underworld, and that's what the card shows.
Oh,
Asclepius dies, and you've got the snake there that's killed him. But then Apollo realised that his son has been killed, got into a big sulk, and refused to let the sun shine, because Apollo's the lord of the sun. So it got dark, and it was like winter all the time, and no sunshine. Like every day was like a night. And so they realised all the crops are going to die, and we're not going to survive under perpetual winter. So there was a council of the gods, and they sent Hermes to find where Asclepius had gone. And because he was a, clairvoyant messenger of the gods, he discovered he's in the underworld. He's dead. And he reported back to the council, and a deal was done that Asclepius couldn't come back to life because same problem, he'd just healed people, but he could go to Olympias and be in heaven and have his own like immortal temple. And that's what the card shows, the
Temple.
temple on the top. And so this story was told by doctors throughout the Greek world, and they founded Asclepions, which are healing temples. Archaeologists have found quite a few of these. There's one in Epidavros, about 2 hours drive from Athens, which I've been to, famous one. And that's where you used to go to get healed, because in Greek times, they believed that healing is a science, but it's also a religious thing. So you'd go to the temple and you'd sleep overnight and dream, because Asclepius would send dreams that would explain what's your problem. And the priests would come along in the morning and interpret them. Also, they built theatres next to the temples of Asclepius, because they found that if you have patients who are ill and show them theatre, it makes them better. It acts as a catharsis, a purification. And that's where the arts come in. That's why Apollo is the god of the arts, because it heals people. Instead of just sort of shunting people to hospital and letting them die slowly, take them to theatres, take them to music, concerts, because that feeds their soul and they get well.
That's a beautiful idea.
Isn't it a beautiful idea? That was the Greek idea of Asclepius. And Aristotle, who's a philosopher, was also a doctor. His father was a medical doctor. And he was from the tribe of Asclepians. He could have been a doctor. But he chose to be a philosopher and to apply medical precision to his philosophical study of things. Which is why, he did the work he did as a philosopher, trying to understand life, nature, organic life, life and death, And he wrote poetics about the nature of the arts, literature, poetry. And also, there was the second half of the book has never been found, it's been lost, on comedy. Aristotle's second half of the book is on comedy. The first half on tragedy I've got it upstairs. It's about why we should go to see tragic plays and films, because, it moves the soul. But comedy is also important. And Aristotle explained why. And that book has gone missing. And I'm thinking of rewriting it.
Hi.
And I'm reading The Name of the Rose at the moment, a great novel by Umberto Eco, which I recommend. And that's all about the lost work of Aristotle on comedy. It's apparently it's in an Italian monastery library. But anyway, that's just an aside. So I think what this card means is that we should focus on healing the conflicts of the world. Our duty as philosophers is to look at things from all sides simultaneously. Look at things from the Jupiter perspective. Take sides, but take all sides simultaneously. So I always say to my friends in the Middle East, I'm pro-Palestinian, I'm pro-Israeli. I'm on both sides simultaneously. Same in Russia and Ukraine. I think we have to realise that we have to have the mind of compassion, that we're dealing with traumatised people who think they're enemies, but they're actually brothers and sisters. We have to somehow get them to transcend their egocentric or ethnocentric battles and come to a place of Asclepian awareness, which heals these battles. We can't do it, but the gods can do it through us if we act as channels for them, and if hundreds or thousands of us do. There are sages in all countries in the world, and seers. If we all get our act together, we can channel these healing energies. That book on the tarot that I just lent you is an example by a Russian who did you discover his name, the guy that wrote it? yet. The book on the Hermetic Mysteries, the text that I lent you about the tarot.
It's said as anonymous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I do know the real name. I do know who
Ah.
he was. Yeah. Shall I let you into the secret?
Oh,
He was a mystic called Valentin Tomberg in real life, who was from the Baltic states, and who spoke Russian and Lithuanian, I think, and he ended up in Berlin. He was interested in anthroposophy. He studied Rudolf Steiner in detail, which is where I first came across him. And then he moved to France and became a Roman Catholic as well, in that universal tradition that I'm talking about. So he discovered that in the French esoteric traditions there was this profound hermetic understanding of, Christ. Could you pass me the book? I think it's down there beside you. Yeah, so I think this is the most detailed commentary on the tarot before my one, which I've just finished, which is 2 volumes, The Tarot of the Gods. I borrowed some of his ideas. I chose not to do it in the same way. He only comments on the major arcana. I've done the whole tarot deck. But it is very deep and very profound. And he likes to quote the Martinist tradition, and Louis-Claude de Saint-Martin, that esoteric tradition in France, and Papu, and a great thinker. Anyway, Valentin Tomberg, great man, who's no longer with us, but I think he would agree with what I was saying, that my commentary on these 4 tarots. Okay, any comments?
Oi. These people from the Middle East,
Yes.
do they agree with you? Most of the time, sometime, not at all?
Well, I mean, yes, when I've travelled in the Middle East and I've met Palestinians and Israelis and talked openly and freely like I'm doing now, yes, they would say, we're with you, Thomas, we agree. But, I'm talking to someone who, I had a difficult conversation in a Palestinian refugee camp in Palestine with a senior guy who said, no, we want victory. We want every Israeli kicked into the sea. We want to win. We want our land back. And I said to him, with respect, I just didn't think that was realistic. I didn't think that the Palestinians would be able to kick all the Israelis into the sea because they're a fierce army, they're funded to the tune of whatever from America. So I didn't think that was realistic. I said, what's your plan B? Do you have a plan B? That's not going to happen, I said. And that was filmed. It's on my web. It's on my Truth and Reconciliation Commission for the Middle East. That conversation.
Okay.
And then I had conversations with Israelis who had served in the military, because if you're a young Israeli, you have to do 1 or 2 years in the military. It's compulsory. And you can choose what to do. So I know a woman who was in Israeli intelligence, and I knew this guy who was in the Israeli army, and then he's now on reserve. And I interviewed him, I've got the conversations, and he said, look, I don't want to have to do that. I'd much rather we did peace, what you're saying, Thomas. But in the meantime, we have to defend ourselves, and somebody's got to do it. So I served my time. And I saw he posted on Facebook 6 months ago that he'd had to go to Gaza as part of the Israeli Defense Force. I'm sure he would have hated that. He's a